It is a book fair, that focuses on the very, very grassroots, you see. What I saw last year, for instance, I saw Kanya College reaching out to inner city communities, to the townships, bringing together children, young readers, and so on.
I think what has become a pillar as well of the book fair is the schools program, and it has so much potential in terms of its development. And once we were able to get that, staff worked a lot on that. It's very, very time-consuming work. You've got to phone schools, you've got to phone teachers, you've got to phone principals, you've got to remind them. They've also got their own work, they're busy with exams, they've got to do marking, So it's very, very time-consuming.
And we're going to be experiencing many new things and things we would like to see.
Also, this is our future place where we would be, so it's very exciting for us.
It encourages them to read, and it helps us also when we're teaching. It makes our lives much more easier, because then the learners they know the vocabulary, and you don't struggle. When you teach, you don't struggle, and then you actually help them a lot.
What has been on display here is fantastic. The variety of activities, particularly focused on children, as well as the serious discussions that have taken place, it makes it alive.
I can say what I want to say, because I'm a J-B-F body. Always remember, never forget, never forget.
Absolutely, and I think they work so well together. If I can also say, there does seem to be a huge emphasis on children's books, and I think that is so important, because if children don't read, then they don't become readers as adults. So it's not even just from a literacy point of view, it's more also forming a love of books and a love of reading.
Reading and writing. Reading and writing is the most powerful weapon across the world. You can't compare reading and writing than anything. By reading and writing, you can read the instruction on a medicine bottle. You can feel the form of environment. You can feel the form of your organization. You can share your dream. You can share stories and book with our friend Tisha, family and community members. When you read, your mind expands, encourages your imagination. Hambili Community Reading Club. Hambili Community Reading Club.
The people who want to go to how to write a story or how to tell a story, please follow the first man there. 20 people, you must be 20. How to write a play. How to write a play. If you want to write your own play, follow.
Again, to break the concept that only clever people write plays or only clever people write books. They are created somewhere in another planet, and then they're not part of us as only people. I break that wall that we must be able to tell our stories in any other way that we can, whether by poetry, whether by writing, whether by working as a collective of young artists or artists with collective work together and produce a play. As you do that all the time, then you'll graduate to writing alone, you'll learn from each other, but let us break that wall.
Yeah, so far it's been very good. Abantwana bami were part of the opening at the gala dinner on the 11th. It was great. They enjoyed themselves, and nami ukubala as a young director, it actually inspires me to see umsebenzi wabanye abantu.
My Asian guides have given me this gift, and they didn't look at the nature of me. They didn't look at my sexuality. They didn't look at the color of my skin. But they said, there's a gift for you, and here it is. And I accepted it with all arms and limbs.
What is important is that how will these children read their world? And for them to do that, they must learn how to read a book. Because you don't just read a book and read the words, which is why they can converse about the plot of the book, about the structure of the book, about the characters in the book, and they can begin then to argue and engage with the authors. And that's what surprises many authors, that these children, in a sense, engage about the nature of the plot, the choices that the author made, why that character did this and not this.
Can I ask, Sam, what is your inspiration behind this whole book, and how old were you when you wrote the book?
I found South Africans so fascinating with their different views, their different outlooks, and so on. So I was fascinated and inspired by what I saw in that bus. That despite the fact that we all had these conflicts, we were living together and trying to manage to live together. You know, all the workshops, I was talking with other writers. In my workshops today, I was amazed at the talent and the brilliance of these children, and outgoing and participating and asking questions. Not brilliant questions, I mean university level questions. What was going to be your question?
Is it a fiction? Did you make up the story, or is it just true story?
Currently, there's been news that Lens has turned to India, Hilbert sent to Lagos, and China Mall has turned to Hong Kong. So I wanted to know, what is your political view of this South Africa?
I wondered, where do these children come from? Because we only hear bad stories about the education system in South Africa and so on. Where do these ones come from?
They have to do very basic things like, and I think which people take for granted, like book education. How do you treat a book? How do you look after a book? How do you page a book?
Yeah, we got to get young people to read, to find out about the universe around them. With social media coming in, people are very quick with their fingers, but are they quick with turning the pages? That's the question.
You start creating a literary tradition from the grassroots and from the youngest of generations. And if we can establish a literary tradition amongst our children, we will then absolutely see a bigger layer of our adults involved and immersed in the literary tradition. And so I think that is fantastic that they've been able to do that.
Are you ready, brothers, sisters, teachers? Are you
I think they liked the venue, and the venue was lovely, and they could move around and they could do things, etc. And then of course they did have a great show with Mamgina. You know, I mean, she's just a wonderful performer. She is so talented. She has a gift of just engaging, and the children love her.
Young people are not reading enough, but it's up to us to encourage them. It's up to us to enjoy reading so that they can see that we are enjoying it. If we enjoy fast food more than we enjoy books, what are they going to learn?
Absolutely. I think it's very important that they are able to at least speak their language and read as well. I think it's very important.
But have a passion for reading it. That's the thing, is to have a passion for reading it. Unfortunately, I've been looking at all the stalls today. There are books in not all 11 languages. Only in I've found about 4. So we are seriously lacking in our publishing industry in South Africa. In fact, many of them are published offshore. They are published in Finland and other countries. Makes me want to cry.
What inspired you to become a storyteller?
What inspired me to become a storyteller? The operative word in my life is sharing. I believe everybody has got a story to tell, so I decided to share stories with other people so that I can wake up stories in everybody. That's why I do what I do.
Storytelling does many different things for children. It rounds them up. It expands their horizons. You know, they get to know more about the world, but even more importantly, more about themselves.
I think one of the big highlights as well of this year's book fair was the launch of Zeksimda and Mpapa Mokwane's Penny and Puffy, which is a children's story and a children's book. And they also translated the book into Sesotho. And the paintings, the illustrations in the book are done by Zeksimda. So this was a really special book, and it was very special for us because the 2 writers donated the book to the Jozi Book Fair so that we could republish the book and that the proceeds would go to the Jozi Book Fair, and because of their support and their commitment to what we're trying to do.
a bona mafana hlahileng ka tlasa dikou a mo shebile ka ho maka.
We want the book to have a wider readership, not only in Sesotho but also in African languages. So there are going to be other versions, other translations into other African languages of the storybook Penny and Puffy.
And I think the concept of that was really good in terms of how we're wanting to build a movement. That kind of generosity of writers working with the Jozi Book Fair, working with readers, wanting to create readers as well, that there's that consciousness from them.
Time flies when you're having fun. Yesterday might not be the same as today. Today might not be the same as tomorrow. So enjoy it while it lasts. Love life to the fullest. Enjoy every minute of every hour of every day. Love life as if life goes, because today might be your last day.
Just know, if you come visit Africa, know that we all love you and we love you so much.
I want to say as well that the children contribute towards their books. They contribute because Kanya subsidizes, Jozi Book Fair subsidizes. We make sure that each child goes home with a book, because we think it's important not just to have a book in the library, not just to read the books that you must share the whole year. You come to Jozi Book Fair, you get a new book that will have your name in there and it will belong to you, so that you can go home and have a library that you can share with others. And we try to give the children at the schools different books so that they can share the books as well, because we want them to share books with each other.
So it was so exciting to get some good times. A lot of books, different books.
Yeah, they are inspired really. The kids loved it. I'm happy coming back again next year.
I'm sure by now many of them are saying after matric I'll come and study at Wits, because the book fair has been placed in an institution of higher learning, and the aspirations of our children are to go to university one day, to be academics one day, to also be part of the bigger learning circle.